What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the recording. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful, wonderful day. We've got week 2 sales data, and as many people have worked hard to pretend that there's really no backlash and that all of this was online, a tempest in a teapot over the Bud Light ad sales campaign with a certain individual that YouTube says apparently we cannot comment on anymore. Well, I don't think that that's exactly what's happening. And then also we had to have the White House come out and try to cringe, defend Bud Light and uplift this person who prances around in woman's face. The whole thing is ridiculous, but the Bud Light boycott is working. And I want to thank everyone who's been supporting Coffee Brand Coffee, my coffee company here in the United States. We love our customers. We don't care about your politics. Our coffee is roasted fresh on order, fresh on demand. It's available in whole bean and ground. We've got our signature roast, everything from light to a beautiful dark roast. We've got strawberries and cream, which is flying off the shelves. Our new cold brew bags, easy to make cold brew, is selling like crazy. Blueberry cobbler, hazelnut churro, obviously all these other flavors we have. We have our double caffeinated and our decaf. Promo code the quartering, and you'll save some money on it too. The Bud Light boycott is working. Sales are down after the Dylan Mulvaney collaboration. Since Bud Light unveiled its partnership with Dylan Mulvaney earlier this month, the customers have been up in arms. In the succeeding days, a campaign to boycott the beer gathered momentum on social media, with various activists proclaiming that they'd never drink another Bud again, or in Kid Rock's case, unloading onto a case of it and yelling profanities at Anheuser-Busch. Palpably spooked, the company within the week released a new patriotic advert featuring a horse galloping over the Brooklyn Bridge. Could this be an opportunity for conservatives to finally teach pandering corporations a lesson to show them that get woke, go broke? Hey, you said it right. Isn't just an empty slogan. While many brands have become embroiled in controversies after showing support for left-wing causes, few have suffered any real long-term damage. That is true. I suspect it could. According to the latest sales figures, Bud Light is down while Coors Light and Miller Lite are up. What's more, this divergence is mirrored in the stock prices of Anheuser-Busch and Molson Coors, which owns the two competitor beers. As the chart above indicates, the boycott gained mass appeal on the 6th of April when there was a huge spike in Google interest. As the 16th of April, interest remains elevated, turning the chart into below. Anheuser-Busch's stock price initially crashed 4.5%, though it's recovered most of that loss. Meanwhile, Molson Coors stock price has now jumped more than 10%. A divergence may not seem like much, but it's worth remembering that Anheuser-Busch is a behemoth that owns dozens of brands, including Beck's, Corona, Stella Artois. Since most boycotters either aren't aware of this or only want to punish Bud Light, expecting a large decline in the stock price isn't realistic. And that's one of the things that, like, I'm kind of tired about arguing with idiots on Twitter about. Like, they're like, the stock is up, you lose. It's like, Bud Light probably represents a sliver of Anheuser-Busch's total holdings, and only after a prolonged sales decline will we actually see it. And more people, find out when they're like, oh, I got off Bud and I started drinking Corona now. And someone's like, the same company. So it takes some time for that information to disseminate, What's realistic? When corporations first started taking sides in the culture war, there was a sense among conservatives that the market would punish such behavior. By the way, this is an excellent article on unheard.com. Over the last few years, have disabused them of this notion. Events over the past few years have disabused them from this notion. They now understand that simply venting one indignation on social media isn't enough to make corporations get the message. You actually have to do something. Of course, engineering change won't always be easy. Boycotting the NFL was never going to work because you just can't start your own sports league. The market for beer, on the other hand, is pretty competitive. Most retailers that stock Bud Light also stock their main competitors, Coors Light and Miller Lite. So if you're teed off with Bud, just grab a Coors or a Miller instead. There's two potential outcomes the boycotters could call a success. Bud Light sales continuing to fall until the brand has lost sizable share of its customers, or Anheuser-Busch capitulates and issues an apology for the Mulvaney stunt. Now, I don't think we're ever going to see an apology. That's just not happening. What we got was the word salad thing, which didn't work, but I think that was the only statement we were ever going to get. It's just not happening. Now, for now, though, the campaign appears to be working, with 40% of Americans and 58% of Republicans saying they are less likely to purchase Bud Light in the boycott. If the boycotters do bag a win, it could mark the beginning of a major backlash against woke corporations. Hear this article too. Yellowstone County bars see Bud Light sales drop after partnership with influencer. And if we look at Brewbound, this is a website that literally covers, beer news. We have this article. Sales data is out and now showing the first week of the conservative-led boycott Anheuser-Busch InBev's Bud Light brand following the world's largest beer maker's March Madness activation with Dylan Mulvaney, an influencer who documents her life as a person in woman face. According to off-premise data from market research firm NIQ, for the week ending April 8th, packages of Bud Light showed accelerating sales and share declines, while Molson Coors competing light lager beers like Coors Light and Miller Lite showed a notable uptick in sales and share, per Davis Williams. So this week showed accelerating sale and share declines. Now, that being said, while the increased declines for Bud Light were apparent, they were also not completely earth-shattering in terms of magnitude, Williams wrote. Now, this will be interesting to monitor over the upcoming weeks to see if the slide continues. But for now, it looks to be rough, but not a catastrophe. Hey, rough is fine. I mean, I'm fine making this rough. Roof. No, I felt like I was talking to Hucky Puppy there, my dog. Now, for the week ending April 8th, Bud Light posted declines in off-premise dollar sales nearly 7% on volume of 10.7%, and dollar share down 3.7%. By comparison, for the week ending April 1st, Bud Light recorded declines in the dollar sales of 1%, volume 6%. So on the surface, the trends for Bud Light definitely do show some variance when it comes to the sales, showing sharper declines in this week versus others. On top of that, dollar trends, though, it's been Bud Light's share of the premium segment that tells a pretty consistent story where Bud Light lost share to a more notable degree to its competitors. Molson Coors, light lager, challenger brands were both in the black for this week. Coors Light increased dollar sales by 10% and dollar share, and Miller Lite increased dollar sales by 17% and volume by 12%. Coors Light trends flipped to positive during the week, as the brand's volume had been in the red 4.3% year to date. Now, the other thing is, I think part of the reason you might have this like delayed result or a push in the other brands is people had Bud Light laying around and might have wanted to get rid of it, and they ran out to get something different, Coors or Miller Lite. So it's very interesting. Off-premise volume trends for Bud Light year to date are in the red across all divisions. Only one region bucked that trend. The calls to boycott Bud Light were sparked on April 1st after Mulvaney posted and received commemorative cans of Bud Light. The cans were only given to Mulvaney and never offered in retail outlets. I mean, the boycott has been emboldened by multiple conservative figures. However, Donald Trump Jr., on his podcast last week, cucked out. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, look at, I should have bought Coors stock, huh? Like, look at this. 17% over the last month. You want to look at the last 5 days? Okay. It's up 5%. So, InBev, much larger, has plenty of alternatives and options and things of that nature for people to get out and replace Bud Light with. But this is working. Having the White House come out, you see this White House condemns the response to Dylan Mulvaney's can of Bud Light. This is what they're asking questions for. By the way, they're asking this question at the White House today. Or might have been yesterday. Like, Karine Jean-Pierre sends brutal message to conservatives over Bud Light backlash. White House Press Secretary don't care. Well, let's call her KJP. Called out the vitriol dedicated at trans Americans following the conservative outrage over Bud Light's partnership with TikTok influencer Dylan Mulvaney. See, what a lot of these people generally fail to understand is this is not exclusively a conservative thing, because we talked about earlier with the data showing that 40% of Americans in general were less likely to buy Bud Light. Sure, it was 58%, I believe, for conservatives. This issue may hit harder with the conservative space, but it is not. It's not a part of. It's not exclusively partisan like they really want it to be. You know, you had, quote, they should be allowed to be who they are. I agree. And who they want to be, and they should be able to speak out against. And we should be able to speak out, and others should be able to speak out against hate and discrimination. Look, I don't have. This is the thing, and this has been my position all along. YouTube, please don't flag this video down. I don't care if Dylan Mulvaney wants to do the things that dude wants to do, okay? Go ahead. But when Bud Light hires you, okay, then I'm going to make a different purchase decision. Dylan can go do whatever Dylan wants to do, and that's fine and diddly dandy. But when corporations continue to give money, or we see the erasure of women in women's sports, people are going to start to speak out against that and speak out loudly. So, you know, pardon me if I think that this is far more than a partisan issue. So keep it up out there. Keep finding alternatives. Every time you see someone get Bud Light, have a Bud Light, buy a Bud Light, you make sure and remind them what their, you know, where their money's going. And thanks everyone who supported coffeebrandcoffee.com. Our fulfillment center thanks you. They've been working hard all week. Our orders are turning around quick. By the way, if you got a product, come back to the website, click on the product you bought, and just scroll down, and I would love to see you leave some reviews. See, the strawberries and cream doesn't even have a review yet because we shipped them all this week. So I would love, and include a picture. You must include a picture in your review, because I only want people who come to my website to know that these reviews are real from actual customers. That's why I have, you know, my review page, 4,200 reviews with an average review score of 4.8. Promo code The Quartering, support American business who does not want to get political and just wants to earn your business with delicious, roasted, fresh on order, fresh on demand coffee available in ground and whole bean. Buy some today. We'll talk to you again real soon.